Namaste and welcome to another episode, Great Minds, Great Quotes. The topic for this video is short and long and maybe complicated, and for others very simple. And the concept is, the title is God, G-O-D, God. We all live with certain assumptions, certain perceptions, certain images of God or the Supreme Being, and those images we have in mind may be different for everybody. But somehow there is a striving, there is a purpose, there is a satisfaction to be gained, or there is a state of enlightenment to be reached. And many people have different concepts of what God means. Very few, if any, have been actually able to describe a real visual or thoughtful image of God. Everybody has their own assumptions based on their environment and based on their understanding. So here is the first quotation, and first three quotations are by Dhananjaya Kumar. The greatest obstacle to experiencing God is an image of God we carry in our minds. In other words, instead of striving to and hoping to actually experience God, we are chasing an image of God. And that may be the flaw in our approach. Not everyone's approach, but some people approach or strive to reach the image they already have in their mind. And they keep going. They miss knowing God because that God is not similar to the image they have. So the suggestion here is, drop the image and know God in reality. Playing God is the greatest pretense of man. Becoming God-like is the simplest. Throughout history and at any time and age, there are people who actually think they are God, or they have powers of God, or at least they exercise power over others. That is the greatest pretense. But what is simpler is become God-like, divinity, become a divine person with divine qualities. What are divine qualities? Divine qualities are basically the highest qualities humans can have, of kindness, peace, friendliness, helping others, saving the environment, be fair, justful, spread knowledge of whatever you can. This is divine, pure principles. That is easy, everyone can accomplish this. But to become acting, behaving like God is a little complicated. God's way of having a little fun is not having to follow consistently and predictably the logic cooked up by any of his creatures, including man. In other words, the assumptions about God, the theories about God we as humans have, and for God to play with the universe. There are many philosophies which indicate that the whole universe is perception, is illusion, is a play of God. There are many great books called Play of God. But if God is playing, God is having fun, He does not have to follow the rules and the logic that any of His creations or creatures, including man, have about God. God's thoughts are manifested in the laws of nature. And the deepest single cosmic law of existence is God's intention. Some great scientists, mathematicians, including Einstein, have said they want to know the mind of God, not about details of how this is made, how that is made, what is time, what is space. All these are small things. They want to know how God thinks. So what this quotation suggests is the deepest single cosmic law of existence is God's intention. God's thoughts are manifest in the laws of nature. God's intention, God's thoughts, if there is something like God thinking, if that is the case, then what He thinks, what His principles are, what principles He has established are present in nature. And we are part of nature. We are product of nature. If we understand that much, the path to reach God is a lot simpler. Every man creates God in his own image. This is another way to look at it, from the saying that God created man in His own image. That's one. The other is man created God in his, that is, in man's own image. And we all individually carry that image and somehow get confused in reaching God because we are chasing an image, not the truth. Swami Vivekananda says, you cannot believe in God until you believe in yourself. Because believing in yourself, your deeper self, your subtler self, is a practice. You can do, you can learn that how to believe in God, or what does believing in God means. Is it believing? Is it an assumption? Or is it an exploration, a search and discovery? That's many ways to look at it. Cale Wiggin says, you can never prove God. You can only find Him. Because proving God is an exercise in logic. Logic is product of mind. Mind is limited in time and memory and what it knows. So mind has its own limitations, and anything which is limited will produce something else which is also limited. So there are limitations to logic. So you can never prove God. It's even hard to prove that you exist or you are alive. How do you prove it? You can say, I'm breathing. Well, breathing is what? Air. Pumping air is not being alive. There is more to it. So before getting too far on the distraction, let's stay with this. You can never prove God. You can never apply logic. You can only find Him. And finding Him requires sincerity, persistence, and sometimes sacrifice. Worship God as if you see Him. And remember that even if you cannot see Him, He still sees you. So the God is present. God is present in each one of us. There is nothing you can see with your eyes, because to see with your eyes, whatever you see is away from you, outside of you, other than you. So seeing and experiencing, that is the distinction that is shown in this quotation. Worship God as if you see Him. See Him means not through visual eyes, through inner eye, your inner experience. Worship God as if you see Him. And remember, even if you cannot see Him, He sees you because He is present in you. This is by Jalaluddin Rumi. Why should I seek? I am the same as He. His essence speaks through me. I have been looking for myself. A lot of concepts in a concise, succinct way. Why should I seek? Because seeking means going somewhere else, traveling. But if the God is within you, you don't have to seek. You just have to discover in you. I am the same as He. His essence speaks through me. Because it's not my tongue and lips which are talking. It is the consciousness, the awareness in me that is expressing. So me, myself, you, the whole universe can be understood as an expression of God. So God is present in what He is expressing. So why should I seek? I am the same as He. His essence speaks through me. I have been looking for myself. This quotation by Leo Buscaglia. What you are is God's gift to you. What you become is your gift to God. What you are is God's gift to you. And what you become is your gift to God. So the message is, God is beaconing you to reach Him. And how far you go, you are fulfilling that promise. You are fulfilling that wish God has for you, that intention God has for you. So the higher you go, the closer you go to God, is what you are presenting, what you are giving to God. God has given life to you. God has created you as His own expression. When you drop the expression and become God, that is your gift. Meister Eckhart. We must learn to penetrate things and find God there. Penetrate means go behind, go within. Don't be taken, don't be misled by appearances. Try to understand what it is in reality, what it is made of, why it behaves, why it looks, appears like that. So when you go inside, not the physical appearance, the subtle essence of whatever object or life form you encounter, when you go inside, you will find God there, in everything, everywhere. So learn to have a deeper perception, penetrative insight into things. Peter Russell says, we assign to God all gaps in our knowledge. In other words, whatever we know, we claim it. I know this, I know that. What you don't know, say, that is God. God is doing it, I have not understood it yet. Why the world exists? I don't know. God created the world. You say, when you see a bird flying, you know the bird flying, and you can even catch it and see it how it flies. You can learn it. You say you claim that knowledge to yourself. So we assign to God all gaps in our knowledge. So knowledge in that, or God in that sense, is an emblem of collective ignorance. Unless a man is simple, he cannot realize God, the simplest one. God is the simplest one. To reach God, become simple. A complicated person, complicated mind, thoughts and assumptions cannot reach God, because God is simple, pure consciousness. This quotation by Mahatma Gandhi: there are innumerable definitions of God. Why? There are innumerable definitions of God because His manifestations are innumerable. The whole existence is an expression of God, as suggested in this quotation and many other quotations. And there is diversity, there is variety. Color, form, shape, distance, appearance, all those are so different, so diverse. And all those are expressions of God. So, based on what one is experiencing, he creates a definition or an image of God based on his perception. So this was similar to another quotations I read earlier, that man creates God in his own image. There are innumerable definitions of God. There are innumerable definitions of God because his manifestations are innumerable. Ram Krishna Paramhans: the sun can give heat and light to the whole world, but not when the cloud shuts our eyes. The sun can give heat and light to the whole world, but not when the clouds shut out its rays of the sun. When the cloud is dark, thick clouds can block the rays of the sun. Sun can give heat and light to the whole world, but not when the clouds are blocking it. Similarly, as long as ego veils the heart, God cannot shine upon it. So that cloud is compared with the ego. Ego clouds our mind, misleads us, and God cannot shine on it, cannot shine upon us if we are covered with ego, the cloud of ego. So good simile here, easier to understand. Short one from Swami Vivekananda: the man who is frightened into believing in God really does not believe in anything, because fear and realization of God does not go together. The man who is frightened into believing in God really does not believe in anything. Here is another one by Ramakrishna Paramhans: purify the spectacle of your mind, and you will see that the world is God. So the impure mind is like a spectacle, and through that impure mind's spectacle, you cannot see God. When that spectacle is pure, your mind is pure, purified, you will see that the world is God. This is by Pearl Bailey. People see God every day. Really. People see God every day, they just don't recognize Him. Thomas Mertens: looking for God is like seeking a path in a field of snow. Snow is white, you don't see anything, grass or a path is fresh cover of snow. Looking for God is like seeking a path in a field of snow. If there is no path and you are looking for one, walk across the field and there is your path. In other words, when you are not finding, you are encircled by confusion, ignorance, and lot of chaos, and you are seeking a path there. Come out of it, and coming out of it is the path. A short one by Meister Eckhart. Let us pray to God. Let us pray to God that we may be free of God. Free of God means all the misinterpretations, concept, assumptions, logic, different things we are caught in, surrounded by, confusion. Let us pray to God that we come out of that confusion. So let us pray to God that we may be free of God. That is the confusion about God. This is a short Sufi proverb. If you take 2 steps toward God, He runs to you. Very optimistic, very promising, maybe true even. Try. If you take 2 steps toward God, He runs to you. This is another proverb. If you cannot make yourself equal to God, you cannot perceive God. In other words, anything less than divine, if we are living in an ordinary, mundane world with caught up in all our problems and misunderstandings, from there you cannot perceive God. If you cannot make yourself equal to God, you cannot perceive God. Albert Einstein, if God created the world, His primary concern was certainly not making its understanding easy for us. In other words, let's assume God created the world. Okay, that theory, that way of looking at things. If God created the world, His primary concern was not to make it easily understandable to us. We have to make the effort. Albert Camus, I would rather live my life as if there is God and die to find there isn't. In other words, if God isn't there and I believe God is there, so I have some optimism, some hope. Even after death we find that there isn't God. That is better than to live my life as if there isn't a God and die to find out there is. So he is minimizing the risk. I would rather live my life as if there is God and die to find there isn't, rather than live my life as if there isn't God and die to find out there is. This is a beautiful Sufi proverb. God sleeps in the rock, dreams in the plant, stirs in the animal and awakens in man. God sleeps in the rocks, dreams in the plant, stirs in the animal and awakens in man. It's by Harold Kushner. God is like a mirror. God is like a mirror. The mirror never changes, but everybody who looks at the mirror sees something different. This is by Stephen Hawking. God not only plays dice, but He also sometimes throws the dice where they cannot be seen. This idea of playing the dice comes from recent developments in quantum physics, that there is uncertainty. God does not only play dice, because Einstein had asked this question, God does not play dice. So Stephen Hawking is saying, God not only plays dice, but he also sometimes throws the dice where they cannot be seen. Rabindranath Tagore: God respects me when I work, but loves me when I sing. Here is a proverb: eyes that see God are the eyes through which God sees the world. Eyes that sees God are the eyes through which God sees the world. Also, God sees us. This is Immanuel Swedenborg. Conscience is God's presence in man. This is Swami Satchidananda. Any desire should not be suppressed. It should only be replaced by a higher desire until you reach the highest irreplaceable desire to know yourself, to know truth, to know God. So here Swami Satchidananda is talking about the quality of desires, the depth, the intention behind desires. So keep fulfilling your desires unless they are unlimited desires. Limiting desires is okay too, but raise the level of your desire until your intense desire is to know yourself, to know truth, and to know God. Short quotation by Osho: an empty mind is God's workshop. This may be contrary to what a lot of people say, that empty mind is devil's workshop. Here, by empty mind, Osho means a peaceful mind, free of disturbances, of thoughts, of imagination, visualization. When your mind is free, it is like a still water in the lake. You can see the image as real. So when mind is pure, that is God's workshop. Through that you achieve higher degree of knowledge and you reach higher level of consciousness. And finally, this is the last one by Swami Rama. All things of the world belong to God, though they are for you. All the things in the world belong to God, though they are for you. Enjoy them, but never forget they are not yours. So this is a movement from attachment to non-attachment. Enjoy the world, but know that you don't own it. All the things in the world belong to God, though they are for you. Enjoy them, but never forget they are not yours. Thanks for listening. This video became much longer than I was hoping because there's lots of quotations. I have skipped many, but even then I think there are about 20 or 30 that I read and said a few words about it. So I appreciate your patience and your interest. Thank you.